All right, today we're talking about one of the weirdest, rarest, and honestly most controversial cars BMW ever had the guts to build, the M Coupe. This thing was born from a secret project, a car that basically shouldn't exist. So the big question is, should you own one? Let's figure it out.
Okay, let's just get this out in the open right away. When your own company's chief designer calls your new car a clown shoe, you know you've made something different. The press called it a bread van. BMW executives tried to kill the whole project more than once because they just thought it was way too strange to sell. But a small, passionate team of engineers fought for it, and what they ended up building was just pure, unfiltered M power. And because it was so out there, almost nobody bought one. I mean, look at these numbers. To put it into perspective, over its entire 5-year run here in the US, BMW sold just over 2,800 M Cubes. In that same time frame, they sold about 70,000 of the iconic E46 M3. So yeah, this car isn't just uncommon, it is genuinely, seriously rare. And you know what that kind of rarity does to prices? It's kind of nuts. Just a few years back, in 2020, you could snag a clean M Coupe for maybe $25,000 to $40,000. Today, whoa, that floor is now 45 grand, and the really pristine examples are blowing past $90,000. The car world has definitely woken up to this thing. But before you go checking your bank account, there are some very serious and very expensive things you absolutely need to know. Okay, let's get right into the big one. This is the single biggest M Coupe specific problem out there. It's a potential deal breaker, and it's something every single person thinking about buying one needs to become an expert on: the rear subframe. So here's the deal. The M Coupe's short, stiff little chassis puts a massive amount of stress right where the rear differential bolts up to the floor of the car. Over time, and especially if you drive it hard, the actual sheet metal of the car's body starts to get tired, it cracks, and it can literally tear away. If you don't catch it, this can cause the entire rear end to fail. Not good.
And fixing this is no small job. The right way to do it involves dropping the whole rear end out of the car and having a specialist weld in thick steel plates to reinforce the chassis. You're easily looking at a $2,000, $3,000, even $4,000 bill. So the takeaway here is really simple. An M Coupe that has already had this reinforcement work done is worth a whole lot more than one that hasn't. All right, next up, the heart of the beast. The M Coupe actually came with 2 different engines here in the US, but it's the later, more powerful S54 that everybody really wants. And yeah, it totally transforms the car, but it also brings its own set of very famous, high-stakes problems that can absolutely wreck your wallet if you're not ready for them. So from 98 to 2000, the car came with the S52 engine. It's a 240 horsepower inline-six, the same one from the E36 M3. It's a great, solid, pretty reliable motor. But then from 2001 to 2002, BMW shoved the legendary S54 from the E46 M3 under that long hood. Power jumped to 315 horses, and it turned the M Coupe into an absolute rocket ship. But that power? Oh, it comes at a cost. The number one issue with the S54 is rod bearing wear. It's really not a question of if they'll fail, but when. As a preventative measure, most owners just replace them somewhere between 80 and 100,000 miles. That's a job that can run you up to $4 grand. If you skip it, you're gambling with the entire engine. Then you've got the Vanos system, BMW's valve timing setup. The seals fail, you lose power, and that's another $1,000 repair. On top of all that, you have to do valve adjustments every 30,000 miles. So yeah, owning an S54 is a serious commitment. Now, beyond the crazy engine and subframe stuff, there are a few other common issues that affect all M Coupes. You can just think of it as the standard BMW ownership tax. You know, the routine stuff that just happens to be a little pricey on these cars. Just like a lot of BMWs from this era, the entire cooling system is made of plastic that gets brittle over time. Plan on a complete overhaul around 100,000 miles. The taillight gaskets also wear out, which lets water leak into the trunk. That's a pretty easy fix, though. And finally, the interior. Oh man, it rattles all the time. You gotta remember, this is a raw, stiffly sprung sports car, not some cushy luxury cruiser. Okay, let's just pause for a second. We've just laid out a pretty terrifying list of problems, right? A chassis that literally tears itself apart, an engine that can grenade itself. It sounds like a total mechanical nightmare. So why are prices skyrocketing? Why would anyone in their right mind risk it? Well, here's why. Because despite all of those potentially catastrophic flaws, the M Coupe has every single ingredient of a blue-chip, investment-grade collector car. The market has finally figured out that this isn't just some old, quirky BMW. It's something genuinely special.
It really boils down to this perfect storm, a collector's trifecta. First, as we saw, the production numbers are ridiculously low. Second, that design that everyone made fun of, that clown shoe shape, it's now seen as iconic. There's nothing else like it on the road. And third, it has reached true cult status among drivers who crave that raw, analog experience.
I mean, just look at the company this car is starting to keep. Its story, low production, one-of-a-kind design, and a growing cult status puts it on the exact same trajectory as established legends like the E30 M3 and the European-only E46 M3 CSL. It's a rising star, and it's following the exact same path as some undisputed icons. And that brings us to the bottom line. This is the key. If you buy a good one and you budget for the issues we know about, you can actually drive and enjoy one of the most unique driving machines ever built, while its value goes up. That is an unbelievably rare thing in the car world. So all of that brings us to our final verdict. We've looked at the scary repair bills, and we've looked at the rock-solid investment case. So where do we land on the BMW M Coupe? Is it a buy or is it a buy? Look, if you're going to do this, you have to do it right. This checklist isn't optional. You have to start with a clean, rust-free car that has a mountain of service records. Your number one priority is to get it on a lift and have an expert verify the subframe's condition. If you're looking at an S54 car, you need paper proof that the rod bearings and vanos have been taken care of. And hey, don't sleep on the S52 models. They give you 90% of the experience with far fewer potential headaches. Our verdict is a definite, enthusiastic buy. Yeah, the risks are real and the costs can be high, no doubt about it. But this is a future classic that's been hiding in plain sight. It's a car with an amazing story, a passionate following, and a financial trajectory that's just too hard to ignore. It's one of the strangest, most flawed, and most wonderful cars BMW ever made, and for that reason, it's a buy.